Assalamu alaikum and welcome again to the study skill program. We will start now the second part on procrastination. Before I tell you what is procrastination, let me ask you this question, and the question is, when you usually submit assignments, I give you three options for you to answer. One of them, do you do it early or couple of days before deadline or on the day of deadline? If your answer is C, which is on the day of deadline, then you are a procrastinator. Now, what is procrastination? Procrastination is the constant pushing aside of the tasks that can be completed now. It is a habit of delaying tasks, doing it later, not now. And this is procrastinator's clock, slow at first and speedy at the end. Now, if you ask that why we procrastinate, what are the reasons of procrastination? Well, one reason could be that we are not in mood, or we don't feel the urge to do it, or we dislike the task. But the study found that procrastinators are really, and many times, are good accomplishers. And they don't do it now because they wait for the feeling of urgency. Closer the deadline, more urge to start. Now, how to deal with procrastination, how to stop procrastinating, and how to start getting things done now. What we can do. Is there any solution? Yes, there are not many solutions of killing procrastinations, of doing it now, not doing it later. There is a self-motivation technique called LYRT, or lengthening your relaxation time. Now let me give you an example. Suppose today is April 10th and your teacher gave you an assignment to be submitted after 7 days. It is a 7 days assignment, but you know, and teacher assured it that it takes only 1 day. That means if you start today, you will be able to submit it tomorrow or max day after tomorrow, 2 days. But what a typical procrastinator he will do? He will say, okay, today's 10th, teacher gave it to me today, I have 7 days time to do it. So he will say, I have 7 days. So on tomorrow, he said, I have 7 more days. Day after tomorrow, he said, I have 6 more days. Another day passed, he said, I have 5 more days. Another day passed, he said, I have 4 more days. And until he reaches on the day last, and he wake up and then he run here and there and he call his friends, and somehow maybe he managed to submit the assignment. And on day 7, after submitting it, he might say, I've done it. But this is the point, and the duration of his relaxation, that yes, I have done it, short-lived, only on that last day. And the point here of LYRT, LYRT, is the idea is you do it on day 1 or day 2. If you do it on day 2, then you have 5 more days. You can say, it is done. I hope you get the point. So that is how you submit your assignment early, so that you can relax for other days, and that is the idea behind LYRT. Now they are using some time management tools that you can use to deal with procrastination. Some practical tips for students to organize, to schedule, and to prioritize tasks for dealing with procrastination. One common suggestion is to prepare to-do list, and there are many template format available on the internet. You can download, or you can make your own template for things to do list. There are calendar, and you can hang it, you can post near your study table, like you have semester calendar, you can have a weekly calendar, or even a daily calendar. Also, you can use the urgent important matrix for task prioritization. This is called Eisenhower matrix, designed by the United States famous president Eisenhower, and it has two columns and two rows. And on the top, on the column side, on the vertical side, you have the important yes and no, and on the horizontal side, you have two rows of urgent yes and no. Now, how it works? First, you make a list of to do, maybe 10 lists to do today or tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Then you start with first one and then the second one. You take each task and ask that, is it important? If it is yes, okay, it is important. And then you ask, is it urgent to do? If it is yes, then you can write it here in number 1. Go to the next one. You ask yourself, is it important to do? You said yes, it is important. But is it urgent? Maybe no, not urgent but important. You write in number 2. Same way, if the and a case may be that it is urgent but not important, you do it, write in number 3. And finally, if it's neither urgent nor important, you eliminate and write in number 4. And that's why you do it number 1, you plan for number 2, you delegate number 3, and you eliminate number 4. The action is you do it first, action is do next, do later, and don't do it. This is one of the exercise that you can try for preparing an urgent important matrix. Like number 1, you can try it, and this is the ideal answer, that in number 1 it should go task number 2, 3 and 5, in number 2 task number 7, in number next on do later, delegate 4 and 6, and the 4th you have don't do it in number 1. And then now in managing time during exam, you can, this is one of the example that many students they fail to manage time properly during exam time regarding answering questions, giving full answers, we call it. Now if you take this question as an example, you have 2 hours to answer. It has 3 sections. Section 1 has 8 points, section 2 12 points, and section 3 has 5 points. Now before answering it, you can spend 2-3 minutes in reading it and understanding it, and then you spend 1 or 2 minutes to divide time for each section, how many questions to answer, how much time you should give, write it down, and then go for section 2, how many questions to answer, how much time you need, write it down, and write last time to stop writing for section 2, and then go for section 3 and tell write how much time you need to have. If you follow that timing strictly, then you'll have a balanced time for each sections, and it is more guaranteed that yes, you'll be able to make full answer. Not only that, you'll have time to do some review, rechecking, rewriting before you submit your exam script to the invigilator. Now let's talk about taking lecture notes. Now study shows that students who took class notes and later reviewed their notes, they remembered class materials more even after 6 weeks. On the other hand, study also shows that students who do not take class lecture notes, they forget 80% of the lectures information within 2 weeks, and some of them maybe lesser than 2 weeks, even 2 days maybe. Now there are some useful techniques to expert note takers. I would like to share it with you. Note taking techniques. One of them is you should come prepared, and you should try sit in the front row. If your teacher is a right-hander, you should sit on the left side of the classroom so that you can see. Otherwise, if you sit on the left side of the teacher of the classroom, then he will block his handwriting. Similarly, you should sit on the left side of a classroom if the teacher is a left-hander. Okay. And you should stay active in the class and listen empathically with the intent to understand. No daydreaming or pretend to listening. And you should take notes then, and you should write important information. Now, how do you know what is important? There are some notice clues from your professor. One of them, if the professor says, listen carefully, then it is very important, write it down. If the professor says it twice, write it down. If he says that it will be on the test, write it down. If it is written on the board with importance, write it down. Read his body language. If a professor comes to the front row and speaks louder, write it down. Examples given in the class can easily become test questions, so you should be careful in writing that down also. Now, there are 5 lecture note templates that you can follow. 5 methods of lecture notes. First of them is the corner method, outline method, mapping method, and charting method, and finally the sentence method. Now let me go through quickly about these 3 methods. The first is the corner method designed by the Munir University. It is a 2-column notes with a footer. Here you see in the picture, it is 2 columns in the upper left side, and it is cues you can write, and the main body is in the right hand side. At the bottom you can write the summary. Okay, and in the corner method, this is one of the demonstration how you should write it there. For example, if the class is about management and the functions, you may write it this way. You write on the left hand side the keywords, and on the right hand side you write the details, and this way you write the keywords and the detail and even the summary. You can write at home, and this can be used as a practice. It can be used as practice notes for your preparation for exam. Number 2, outline method. It's writing the titles or outlines of the key points. Just writing the headlines, you call it a section titles only. Number 3, the mapping method. It writing descriptive map of the idea of the lecture to visualize the lecture. Diagramming the lecture, lectures in visualization, like this way, saying lecture in 2 different methods of like, for example, it is written like body language has 4 different subsections, and each subsections have also subsections. The charting method, when lecture is focused on facts and relationships, like history class, you may write this way, take your class note this way. The sentence method is the most common method and widely used that we use usually in the sentence method. And the combination, this is the nice and neat. I wish I have this kind of writing skill to write a beautiful lecture notes like that. And you can use a color pen for writing lecture notes. And next session is on how to read books. So let me stop now. We'll take a short break before we move to this section of how to read books. Thank you for listening, and see you soon, inshallah.